Welcome back to DreamHack Atlanta, where we have seen some fantastic Rocket League up until this point, but we have definitely not seen the best we can, and we have got a quality match on the line here. It's going to be Mockit versus Myth Gaming. This is the first match we will see today, ladies and gentlemen, that we have had entirely RLCS contenders populating both rosters, and not only that, we have 1 world champion and 2 world championship contenders, 3 players so far in this match that have all been to the RLCS Grand Finals. This is going to be a quality game.
Yeah, a lot of quality in this match, indeed. A lot of players that you guys will know. For those that don't know, Myth used to be Untethered. For those that were in the community that were kind of following them through,
They
like,
recent Untethered.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, to
there's an old Untethered. That They're not that Untethered.
Not VQ, not VQ.
Yeah.
Just regular Untethered. Why did they pick the same name? What
it's a storied name in Rocket League. I can understand why they went for it there. But yes, Lachinio, Sad Jr., and Corrupted G, all Canadians. Team Canada is reincarnated here in Myth Gaming. Can't wait to see how they go up against Pashy and company. Always a threatening force on the Mockit side.
Yeah, for sure. And this will be the really big first chance to get to see the new Mockit lineup as well, as we haven't seen too much coming out of these guys ever since really they formed. I mean, Fairy Peak really the only remainder of that previous Mockit squad, K-Dop and wow,
it was Mystic.
Mystic, that's who it was. Mystic to Flipside and K-Dop, of course, to Gale Force. So interesting to see Pashy's new roster.
Yeah, for sure. Pashy, always a player that is known for building quality teams around himself. A star third player who is good as a team captain to build the 2 front men and knows exactly what he wants. So always building deadly rosters. He had Diffused Kids in the last DreamHack, which they went pretty far. So we'll be able to see how he's able to do here with the new Mockit guys. And this is the first match I felt like I actually am interested in knowing your predictions here, because other than that, it's just been kind of always there's been a favorite. This one, I don't know who to pick.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Mockit. I don't think it was this exact same roster in the Brisk Summer series for the second one, because they've been kind of trying to figure out what plays into suit. But what's interesting about Mockit is just the play styles that they have on their team trying to merge together. Freaky is a player that doesn't get enough credit, in my opinion. When he was playing on Penta with Pondex, Pondex was the one who majority of the time got it. But Freaky's a player that's always been quiet, I guess, but consistently good, which is interesting to see him being now enabled by a player like Fairy Peak, who is also quiet until he got that LAN experience, and he's like, all right, I'm here to show up. So.
Yeah, you look at both of these rosters. Fickle, thought on Myth. Who is the star player on this team?
I mean, they're all stars, honestly, because, you know, Latch is having his, like, comeback tour, basically.
Yes.
He you know, missed out on RLCS Season 3 when they were really favored to make him play. And he hasn't really played in anything huge since then. So this is actually his return to the prime time, if you will, in quite a long time as far as Rocket League is concerned. An entire season plus in a lot of the summer events, we have not seen him whatsoever. So and I know he's been busy with school and trying to get that sort of settled down. But I'm really excited to see Lachinio back on the stage.
Yeah, for those that don't understand what you're referencing, obviously he was on a team called Iris. No longer on that team. Obviously he fell off because of schooling, and now he's coming back into it. So,
yeah, it was Iris there who was able to. They were only. Wow, English is hard sometimes. Not only were they a favorite to make it into RLCS, they were a favorite in many people's minds to win the whole thing that season, and then they got beaten in the qualifiers, were not able to make it through. So Lachinio missed it out on Season 3. They missed out on LAN in Season 2 as well. So it's been a while since I've actually seen. I was thinking about this earlier when I saw him walking around. I was like, this is the first time I've been in the same building as Lachinio since Season 1 when he won the whole thing. The only world champion on the stage today, or on this stage right now, but both Pashy and Fairy Peak have been that second place team.
They can taste it, man. They can taste it.
They both have been the victims of bracket resets too. They both came in through the winter bracket and then got beaten by a team that came up from the lower. So they've got a lot of. I know that both of these players, especially Pashy. Pashy's been around for so long, and he's won things back a long time ago. He won the RLC Pro League first tour when he was back on Crown and Jewels, but since then he's been chasing that victory, and you know he wants it here at DreamHack.
I mean, you look at it. I mean, even on the side of Myth, like Sad Jr. is the only player that's been to all 3 lands. He finds a way, and it's weird.
He's the NA Sticky. The NA Sticky.
Yeah, like,
the NA Sticky.
It's unbelievable how he always manages, no matter what roster he goes through. Because, and credit goes out to Sad. Like, Sad hasn't been the same Sad Jr. we've seen in Season 1. He's been a lot more quiet, and despite that, like I said, he still manages to find a way. And now he's pairing with 2 players who mechanically are very sound and like to play extremely fast. Like, Lachinio is the OG boost dealer, just simply because he needs it. Like, not because he's trying to deny you it. He just needs it so he can keep playing.
Yeah,
So,
and of course, Corrupted G and Sad Jr. are already previous teammates, so they've already got some form of chemistry. It's really more about how Latch fits in with those two than the other way around.
yeah, I feel like definitely on Denial, not Denial, Myth, wow. On Myth, the player to watch right now is Lachinio. Can he make the statement that he's been trying to make for the last 2 seasons? Can he do it here at DreamHack with Myth? But on the side of Mockit, my question to you guys, who is the key player for our viewers to keep an eye on? Because all of these players can have their moments to shine. I'm going to start with you, Fickle.
I really want to say that Fairy Peak is the one to watch here, because Pashy being so in the scene for such a long time, everybody expects him to play a certain way. But Fairy Peak was, you know, maybe nobody had really heard of him before Season 3, and he's like, wow, this guy's in the grand finals along with, you know, K-Dop and Mystic on Mockit, and I want to see how well he can perform consistently, because that was really his only one LAN before. Pashy's been to, you know, DreamHack Summer. It was in all 3 RLCSs, whereas Fairy Peak's, I think, first season was Season 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think this past season, this past LAN was like one of the first things we've seen Pashy absent from, and it was a big deal. It was like, wow, Pashy didn't manage to make it, which just communicates how deep the rosters are getting here, especially in Europe, where everything just continues to get better and better. People like Freaky, who was on Team Enjoy, then Team Penta, now up on Mockit, continuously improving his teams. And this is something that we've seen Pashy do time and time again. Shalset, also a player that he helped bring into the limelight by putting him on his team.
That's the craziest part, is because Pashy previously was on Gale Force, and now Gale Force is one of the best teams in the world. So it's like, these players are 2 players that we all know. Fairy Peak really got his start as a 1v1 player. He was just dominating tournament after tournament, showing that by proving yourself in the community, you can get noticed by these top-tier players and picked up, and all of a sudden he's playing at the grand final. So it's one of those things, but Achieves, it's your turn. Who do you think is the important one on Mockit?
I mean, Freaky did a lot of good work back when he was on Penta with killer number 7. I mean, you put it yourself, always quiet, but he always generated a lot of score. Yeah. I ran a lot of numbers back when they played Gfinities a lot, and Freaky really surprised me with the amount of score he generates, but with the fairly low amount of scoreboard statistics that he puts up. So I have to pick Freaky over on the Mockit squad, so just because he's a consistent guy.
I would go with Freaky too, especially when we're talking about players to watch. People like Pashy and Fairy Peak, I have a good amount of expectation for, especially having been World Championship finalist level players. But Freaky this is the best opportunity he's had, and at this point I feel like he is the player that has the most to prove on this Mockit roster. I am very excited to watch how he does, how he plays alongside Pashy here, because Pashy always a team captain who is willing to do anything it takes to win.
Yeah, and that's definitely respectable. Obviously for me it's going to be Fairy Peak. We have, like you said, expectations for him, the way he plays. And we had those expectations all throughout Season 3. We expected this guy to come in with K-Dop and just be this power duo, and we didn't see it until really the
2v2s,
the regional qualifiers in the World Championships, obviously. But it's a matter of, can he still live up to that expectation now that K-Dop isn't there? K-Dop was the one that always led the charge for them, and he's no longer doing that. Fairy Peak has to be that guy, because Pashy's not going to be the one to do it, and neither is Freaky.
Yeah, I feel like Fairy Peak kind of settles into the one role more than he does anything else, and that would leave Freaky in the shooter role, which is the role that I feel like I've seen Freaky shine the most in as the final shooter to pick up on the passes. So I'm excited to ask this for the first time today. Predictions, guys. Who do you have here in Myth versus Mockit? Start with Achieves.
I'm calling split desk for one.
Okay.
But I'm going to go ahead. I think I have to pick Mockit here. There's too much consistent power that we've seen out of them. Haven't seen a lot out of Lachinio in recent memory against top-tier European players. So I think it's going to be a bit of a wake-up call for Lachinio.
Alrighty.
I think I'm also going to have to go with Mockit as well. 2-1. I think we're going to see our first game 3. I think the quality of players and the consistency just is slightly above Myth, and the only reason I say that is because Lachinio has been out of the scene for so long. He's gonna if Myth wants to win against Mockit, he's gonna be the reason why.
For me, Mockit had Fairy Peak. I talked about him being confident, but it's been a long time since we've seen that confidence. And I'm actually going to go with Myth.
Going to go with Myth.
I think Lachinio has something that he has to prove, and this is the time he's going to do it. He's going to come out strong.
This, you want to talk about objectives for a match for players and for teams. Like for for Pashy, I think the goal right now is just to win, to get back onto the top of the podium. And that's kind of a tournament-wide goal, where Lichinio has an objective in this first match. This is the first time we're going to see him playing on a stage like this in a long time. Right. He has a personal goal for this match, these games right here, to make a statement that he is the World Championship player he was in Season 1. He absolutely can be a clutch carry in the times when he really feels like it. So I'm excited to watch Lichinio and see how he plays and how he fits in. Like you guys said, like it is Denial, or the former Denial roster of Corrupted G and Sad Jr., who he's going to have to get into the rotation of. These guys have been playing together for a while, so it's up to Lichinio and how he fits in with these guys.
But who do you pick?
Yeah, I'm like, I understand you're the host, but who do you pick?
I have to go with Mockit on this one. I think if we're talking NA versus EU, we're talking about Pashy. These are my favorite things. So
which is great because you're like, Lichinio's got something to prove. It's going to be great. I go with Mockit.
Yeah, no, I think it's his goal. I think there's absolutely the possibility for an upset, but Pashy and Freaky are two of my absolute personal favorite players, and so I have to go with them on this one.
So he's biased, everybody.
Absolutely. I'm the host. I can be as biased as I want.
You got a point.
It's not my job to be impartial. I'm not casting right now. So.
Neither am I.
Yeah, we can do whatever we want.
Follow your dreams.
I should have been biased.
But yeah, either way, it definitely almost has to go 3 games. There's no way that the quality of play that we see out of these ends up in a 2-0, and there's almost certainly no way it's going to be a landslide either.
Yeah, this is going to be very, very fantastic to watch. Myth, and if you're not familiar with Myth Gaming, this is a new name for us here in Rocket League. They have an esports house, actually, so these guys are going to be able to get some scrims in a good way. And it's really fun to me to see that Denial, my favorite part about Denial was the fact that they were all Canadian and that you had Team Canada in Rocket League, and then they disband, like, oh, we don't get Team Canada anymore. And then they pick up Lichinio, who's also Canadian, go over to Myth, and it's just really fun to see that we have another Team Canada.
I can guarantee is at home in his jammies or his jams. Freaking out because Team Canada's back. I know it. Like, there's no way he's not.
Leaf would be the type of person to wear jam jams.
Oh, he's got onesies for days.
Man, he's sitting there just hoping for some wheel snipe sellies. You know,
dirty dangles everywhere.
Yeah, he's probably drinking some maple syrup.
Which
I heard. I was talking to Sad Jr. and he's like, "That's not a thing you do in Canada."
I'm like,
Leaf's,
"Yes, it is."
Like, we absolutely watched Leaf drink not one, but like at least 2 little bottles of maple syrup.
He's brought like bottles of maple syrup on the plane so we can have quote real maple syrup here. It's happening
because I've had so much maple syrup in my life that I could tell the difference between the best stuff and the store brand stuff. You know,
all the time.
Of course, but yeah, love Leaf. It would be great to have him here. But we'll get into this match here in a bit as soon as these players all feel comfortable and ready. Guys, talk to me about these rosters. Keys to victory here for both teams. What are the things they're going to have to do to get victory over one another?
For one, let Lichinio play how Lichinio wants to play. You cannot hinder his ability to play fast and very boost heavy. Corrupted G has been that player, though.
Yeah, well, I feel like we're saying 2 different things now. So we're saying that Lichinio needs to fit in with the former Denial roster, but also the Denial roster needs to adapt to Lichinio. So which is
yes, I think that Lichinio is going to be the one that has to lead the charge, but Corrupted G is going to have to change his playstyle because Corrupted G has always been the one that has done that for this team. Simply because Lethmir was more defensive heavy. Lichinio is now offense for this team. Take that step back and help him out.
Okay.
Well, there's a couple of different things. You think about Pashy. Historically, he's always ran a very physically based team. And, of course, Fairy Peak, no stranger to that as well. When it was him, K-Dop, and Mystic, they ran a lot of demos coming out of the backfield. Pashy likes to run a lot of demos coming into the net. And Lichinio and Corrupted G and Sad, like you said, Lichinio likes to play very fast. He likes to go and leave the net and go and grab boost. So it's all about how Myth is able to cover that Latch really needs to go get boost thing. That's kind of been a joke for a long time about Lichinio is like he needs boost.
Sure, yeah.
For Myth, I like you said, I really want to see Lichinio playing offense, and I want to see Sad also playing up with him. 2 former SARP players as well on the same team, and you know that game was a lot more zany than Rocket League is, as compared to the ball physics and how the game moves. Rocket League is much slower.
They played on pirate ships. You know?
Right, like the maps are absolutely ludicrous. But I want to see those 2 being up in the front, kind of how we normally see Jacob and Fireburner. But that's how we're going to get into the first, probable maybe 3-game series of this entire DreamHack. So Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, definitely should be a bit of foreshadowing here. Is the offense already out in force for foreshadowing in terms of what you should be able to expect coming out through the upcoming days of DreamHack, and it starts off well for the Mockit squad as They were able to get some early offensive pressure, and nothing quite through yet. As Corrupted G struggling to find a clean touch onto the ball. And Freaky will keep the pressure up now for the orange, and down and in. Hello, off the back wall.
They mentioned Freaky being quiet, but this is definitely not quiet. This near post kind of like jumping out in front of it and then flipping back into it, actually becoming quite a bit of a common play. And instead of pushing it out to the midfield where you would expect a pass, they're just saying, oh, I'm just going to score it myself. And he actually waited for the member of Myth Gaming to not touch it and then went for it. So Freaky, very smart player.
Quick pass out towards the mid, actually on target. Sad Jr. credited a shot for that, and Corrupted G will keep things out in front of the orange net. Lachinio off that top corner, takes a hop straight down. Mockit with a chance to clear here, and they might have put a little bit too much behind that ball, as it will come right back into the orange side. This one going to come off the back wall, and nobody on there over on the Myth Gaming side to receive it, and he will have to buy a little time in terms of Sad Jr. He's also got no boost, so it's going to be very difficult for him to clear this ball, maybe getting a bit of a nudge from his teammate there. As the Myth Gaming guys all on the same side of the field, quickly spreading out, noticing the positioning error, and that's a quick shot towards the net from Pashy. But overall, what are you seeing so far out of Mockit? They look pretty good. They're able to generate a lot of pressure, it seems.
They are generating pressure, but I have not seen any kind of infield passing or anything. And very peak, a very known 2v2 player with KDOP. And if you're playing with KDOP, you're going to have a lot of opportunities for solo plays, as they both like to play it that well. And Fairy Peak was my player to watch as well. I want to see him take the ball and slow it down and dribble it, because that section of offense, Pashy's a little bit used to be known for it, but not so much anymore.
Chinio's going to run into the orange net trying to say, hey, if you want to save this ball, you're going to have to go through me first. But the offense a little bit sluggish to follow up right now for Myth, and Pashy able to go through two, pretty much no problem. That's a great pass out towards the top of the box. He's able to buy a little bit of time. It's a tough angle. Does he get two? No, he does not. Corrupted G, the back wall, to his credit, finds a clear there. And Sad Jr. again with limited boost, but that's kind of been what we've seen out of these Myth Gaming guys. They're always strapped for boost. We saw it out of Lachinio in the midfield, and Freaky again finds the back of the net.
What a read off of the ceiling. Freaky, with all the time in the world here, is going to pop it up to himself, get up immediately, and drop it down to the net completely by himself.
That's his fifth shot.
And to mention that clear from Sad Jr. was horrendous. It was so bad. It not only was back out into the middle of the field, nobody from defense was even encroaching the ball. Freaky had 3 or 4 seconds to figure out what he wanted to do with it, and he made it count.
A nice read coming out of the midfield from the Mockit crew. Fairy Peak off the back wall is Sad Jr. Out towards the top of that box again. Latch conserving a little bit of boost this time. The only man in charge of getting it out of this blue side. There is Lachinio, touch forward. Corrupted G gonna be rotating all the way back. He's got a little bit of space to work with here. Curious to see how he uses it. Nice patience. It's very smart to wait for that to make sure you have a chance at a clear. As he was the last one back. If he went forward a little too early, could have got burned. It's 2 minutes remaining now. Mockit finally find themselves on the defensive side of things for a little bit. It's Corrupted G trying to get this pass forward, and this pressure being mounted. It's a 1 versus 2 right now. Lachinio steals that corner boost and finds the back of the net.
Lachinio with boost is something to be feared, as he is going to latch onto this pass off of the contest from Corrupted G. A bit of a weird challenge there from Mockit, because regardless of how you slice that ball, the momentum is always going to go into the corner, straight back into the middle. So to counteract that, you actually need to get out in front of the ball and actually force it backwards instead of towards the corner. So Myth Gaming finding their first goal of this game. Minute 30 remaining, but Mockit still with the lead.
Ooh, a nice hard shot just off the top bar, and Fairy Peak tries to dish one out to Pashy out of the midfield. That's been Pashy's look for so long, just a very vanilla pink or purple octane, and I have to give credit to a man who uses pink, as I myself the aficionado of the pink as well. And Sad Jr. able to turn one away from the net here. We are just about at 1 minute of play. Myth Gaming starting to put a few more opportunities over onto that orange side of things.
I'm actually liking the offense more out of Myth. I've actually seen a couple of passing plays, at least attempted. There was one about at 3 minutes where Corrupted G was just a little bit off the mark in the midfield, but it was a 1-2-3 pass, and I have not seen any of that from Mockit. Yet, Mockit has the lead thanks to a fantastic solo performance from Freaky.
Good early challenge from Sad Jr. out of the net, as you just saw, and they were able to get things down away finally. On this Myth Gaming side of things, there's a nice slow touch. Wow, what a dunk from Corrupted G, but it's not able to find its way into the back of the net. The second opportunity coming through. Sad Jr. up nice and early, and there to cut it off is Freaky out of the midfield. He will take a quick hike back to the net. This one turned away as well, putting up a show on offense as well as defense. And they've only got to hold on for 16 more seconds here over on the orange.
Members of the Mockit squad were scrambling on defense, and now I think they're going to have to get back to their net for one more hold. Will they be able to hold off this Myth offense as the ball is in the middle of the field, off of the wall, is still up, and it's not over just quite yet until it's the ground.
We'll have to see how they handled this one. They come in out of the top of the box, smack that one down. Mockit Esports take game number 1. Freaky, 2 unassisted goals, and their reason for victory.
Yeah, and if we talk about the goals that Freaky scored, like you said, completely unassisted, did it all himself. And there wasn't really any other contribution from either side for the offense. And going, a nice little smile there from Pashy, as always going to be, he usually smiles even when he loses, honestly. I've not seen a more happy player on stage, except maybe Jacob. But very serious looks from the side of Myth, as they know that this might be one of the matches that is going to decide where they get placed tomorrow, because I have no doubt that these two teams were probably the best in their group, and this head-to-head right here is going to decide a lot going to the next day.
And there you see Sad and Corrupted G. They're ready to go, having a bit of a discussion about what they need to fix moving forward, and the Mockit guys, I mean, they seemed fairly pleased with the performance, perhaps expecting a little bit more offensive go of things, but overall, Freaky, we've already touched on the offensive side of things, 2 unassisted goals, but those 2 big saves right at the end as well. Huge clutch defensive performance as well from that man over on the right side, so he's fitting in quite nicely with this squad.
If Pashy decides to no longer continue competitive Rocket League, he should definitely pick up a career in talent scouting. Because this guy is able to form a competitive roster time and time again. He pretty much made Violent Panda into the name that he is today by picking him up and pairing with Pashy and Freaky again right off of the bat. That is going to be 3 goals for Mockit total, and all 3 from Freaky.
Indeed. And Pashy with a nice solid assist quickly, and just not able to make it back out of that corner from the Myth side of things, and they find themselves on the back foot very early here in game number 2. We'll see if this kickoff is able to go their way a little bit more. So it will find its way into the hands of Corrupted G. A nice long touch downfield. Unfortunately, Sad Jr. not in the best place to deal with it. Went for the infield pass. Fairy Peak, tough save. Skies that one high, and a big missed touch. Latch throws one off the backboard. Fairy Peak can only watch in the net and is very thankful to have some help from Pasha to get that clear. And that's 3 in a row off the backboard from Myth Gaming now.
A bit of a rush clear there from Fairy Peak as the offense still continues for Myth. He was expecting a challenge and got up early to knock it down, but he just grounds it right out to Myth. Still Myth offensive opportunity to play here, and a ball gets knocked down the latch, but that gets put right onto net. Clutch save from Sad Jr., as now we are seeing a bit faster play from both these two teams.
Yeah, apart from the very first goal, which opened up game number 2, bar down, in. Freaky goes high, and they take a 2-0 lead.
Again, 4 goals for Mockit, 4 goals for Freaky, as the placement on this was absolutely stellar as well. Corrupted G did try to pre-jump it, but he actually was not in front of the net. He was just trying to cover a spot that hopefully that they would hit it into him. But good finishing from Freaky, as he's been the complete offensive force for Mockit.
Oh, off the kickoff again, and this one just tapped out of the way by Corrupted G. He's got 66 boosts to work with here at the top of the box. That's a great pass. Unfortunately, just not quite enough space to work with. Had to leave it for Lachinio, and it's a 2-on-1 now. They go for the pass, and Sad Jr. cuts it off nice and early. Jukes left, and Fairy Peak stays right with him. Some good aggressive play as Freaky finds a demo on Sad Jr. out in front of the box, and the offense will stall for the blue team. About 3.5 minutes remaining here in game number 2. Mockit off to a fairly quick start. I mean, it starts off really nice in game number 2 with a quick kickoff goal, and then Myth just not quite able to get these strong shots on net. The defense really locking down. Historically, Pashy has had a fairly strong defensive team no matter what roster he's played with.
Yeah, and that comes from his very beginning play of the...
Oh, what? How did that find its way into the back of the net?
That is 5 goals for Freaky across this entire series.
That makes 3 of them unassisted as well. Just a quick volley out of the midfield. A nice little bump in the net. Fairy Peak, you get an honorary assist for that.
All right, Fairy Peak not actually getting an in-game credited assist, but definitely helped as he contacted the car in the net from the goalie from Myth, creating more opportunity for Freaky to score. And it's been the Freaky show. This is ridiculous.
He's definitely playing well here, no doubt about that. As Pashy one-on-one for so long revered as a strong 1v1 player, just doesn't have the boost to work with here, and Corrupted G can only tap this one out to the corner, and we will see it get thrown back in immediately in a huge mistouch off the back wall, and some help coming through out of the other members of Myth. Corrupted G, a nice back pass, but he's not in the best position to take advantage of it. Pashy knows this and demos him and says, good luck trying to stay on offense down a man.
Man, Myth Gaming actually have a lot more space to work with than they're utilizing. The members of Mockit are playing as if Myth Gaming is going to hit it back into them, but Myth Gaming they need to slow it down because both Latch and Corrupted G are very, very good dribblers, and they're not using that to their advantage. They're just trying to pepper shots on the net, and the placement from Sad Jr., very nice shot.
Yeah, right into the top of the net. It's a pretty decent pinch clear attempt. They tried to just force that one all the way down to the other end. We saw it be very successful earlier on in the day, but this time around just doesn't quite have enough speed behind it. And Sad Jr. lurking out in the middle of the field just throws it right back in their face and picks a good spot.
Yeah, top bins, but they're going to have to do a lot more work in the final 2 minutes of this game. Still down 2 goals, and they are down 1 game in the series. So, and this still is a best of 3. So if they lose this, they're not out of the tournament yet, but they're not going to get as preferential of seeding going into the next day.
Machinio wants a dunk, and that is some smart placement from Pashy to go parallel to the goal mouth. Throws that one well away out of the oncoming Octane. Freaky wants 2 off the back wall, so close, but just couldn't quite find the angle. Pashy gonna loft this one high and hope somebody else will take care of it for him. And again, a couple of missed touches off the Myth squad have really cost them a lot of offensive opportunities. Pashy barring in, what a setup.
Finally, somebody else from the Mockit roster is going to get a point in the goal margin.
But Freaky assisted, so he's still got 100% goal participation.
And the redirect there from Pashy is good in 2 ways. 1, that it was on target, but 2, that it was all the way to the other side of the net, where he was hanging around the near post, and maybe you would think it goes either towards the middle or the near post, but he puts it all the way to the other side where nobody was.
Sad Jr., a nice air dribble attempt, but too much mass out in front of the net. Corrupted G just has enough behind it to float one in. They're trying to stay in it.
That is quite a tricky angle. Deceptively hard for Corrupted G here because the ball already bounced way over his head. He couldn't get the power that he wanted on that ball. He just had to go for placement. So he stopped his car, had to jump, and he actually side backflipped just a little bit to not sky the ball. It's good finishing from him, but again, still 2 goals down. No different than where we were 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, we've seen this a couple times already today. 2 goals down with just about a minute remaining here. And no team has been able to overcome that deficit with that much time remaining so far. A nice setup high off the back wall. Pashy just gets a little bit too much on top of the ball and throws it right down into the Myth Gaming squad. And this is a big chance. They're going to have to find some strong offense. That's a great pass towards the top of the box, but nobody over on the blue team expecting that touch.
It's going to be hard to break through the Mockit defense the way they have been playing. And honestly, I think it's going to be lights out here for Myth Gaming if they don't score within, like, this drive right here. If that ball doesn't go in, it's likely going to be over. Final 20 seconds, it's just going to keep dripping and dripping down. Mockit probably walking away with this 2-0.
Yeah, and a nice solid defensive performance there from Pashy right in front of the net as well. You kind of get surprised with a quick pass out into the middle of the field. It's a good show from him to buy plenty of time. So 10 seconds remaining here. Myth Gaming gonna more than likely fall 2-0 here, but Mockit putting up quite a performance on the back of Freaky. What a show, and that will do it. 2-0 over to the Europes.
Mockit Esports with a convincing victory, and I hope that Freaky's backpack is not going to get pulled by the end of the week, because that was quite a dominating performance from him, scoring, what, 7 out of the...
Six out of the 7.
6 out of the 7 goals that that Mockit scored that entire series, and plus the assist on the one that he didn't score. So he had a hand in every single shot, every single goal that.
My bad. 5 out of 6.
Oh, okay, 5 out of 6.
I can count. I promise. Caster man.
But yeah, he was incorporated in every single goal that Mockit scored. So what a performance!
Yeah, what a performance indeed. But let's go ahead, opening back up the analyst desk. They watch the games alongside with us, and they have some words they'd like to say about it too, I'm sure.
Boy, we built that one up as it was going to be the biggest, like most dramatic, like there was going to be, we were going to go to game 3, it was going to be awesome. And then Myth was just not able to answer anything that Mockit was doing here. We talked about this being Lachinio's big first time back on a stage here, and honestly, leaving a bit to be desired, wanting, I can guarantee that he was not happy with that performance. He wanted more out of that one as well. So we see Mockit getting the 2-0 here.
Yeah, for Lachinio, like he did some good things on offense. You know, he led the charge in a couple plays. He set things up, and it was actually Sad Jr. putting in most of the shots and their opportunities, which is kind of uncharacteristic. But for me, like I was like, okay, Lachinio's got something to prove. He's going to do it. Turns out I was thinking about Freaky, who had something to prove, because clearly he was doing what he did well, like for Mockit. He's like, yeah, I'm definitely a good part of this roster.
Oh, the first goal he scored, I was so impressed with, rolling that one off of the back wall, straight underneath the crossbar in a way that was, you know, almost unblockable. Fantastic play there, and as they said, got 6 out of the 7, 5 out of the 6, 4 out of the 5, however many goals. He got all but one of the goals that we saw Mockit scoring here. Fantastic play from them. Quinn, give me your thoughts on the match.
Really incredible play from Mockit. I was really surprised. I was a little bit let down actually by Myth, if I'm completely honest with you. I thought that the roster with Sad Jr., with Lachinio, with Corrupted G, I thought the star power would be enough. I wasn't sure exactly how they'd make it all happen, what roles each of them would have, what habits, what they would tend towards. I thought maybe it'd be a little bit too offensive, if anything, and you know, we just saw Mockit really countering them so many times, just waiting for a shot opportunity and then just running away with the counterattack. I thought Freaky's goal, that first goal when he mentioned, right, when he just rolled it up and he's like, all right, if you don't want to challenge me,
yeah,
I'll let it roll in and score myself. That was just calling their bluff. Mockit was one step ahead the entire series long.
Yeah, and like that first goal enabled by not having as aggressive of a wall defense as you might have wanted to see from Myth. And it felt like that was kind of the whole game, was Mockit just being like, well, if you're going to give us this opportunity, we're going to take it. We're going to just abuse the opportunities you are giving us here. Beautiful pass plays put together on all sides of the ball here as they were able to get the 2-0 victory over Myth.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about how Pashy's always built defensive teams, and this is no different. They sat pretty much turtled on the backfield, and even though that Myth plays this really aggressive, fast play style that actually favors those two players, I can just sit and wait as they run out of boost, and then when there's nothing there for them to grab, quick counterattack, Pondex, or not Pondex, wow.
Freaky.
Freaky. They were all teammates.
They were on the same team.
Yeah, but Freaky puts in a shot and goes in, like one after another. So, yeah, their game plan or their play style, I guess, just worked out really, really well.
Oh, speaking of Pashy, here on the desk with us representing Mockit, how are you doing, friend?
Moi guys, I'm doing pretty good. I'm just a bit tired. I didn't sleep that well. That's how I played. Actually, I didn't play that well, but at least we won.
Man, saying he didn't play all that well, saying that you didn't sleep that well, and yet comes out with a clean 2-0 victory over Myth. We were building it up as like, oh, this is going to be such a big match. Well, we're going to be back and forth. Lawler actually predicted Myth to win that one. You guys come out completely cleaning the floor. Talk to us about Myth. How did you feel going up against them?
I'm not going to talk to Lawler anymore.
Oh, I had a good question for him, too.
Well,
I had a really good question.
We didn't underrate them at all, because we know and from the past they are really good LAN players, actually. I don't know about Corrupted, but I know that Sad and Lachinio usually play well at LAN, so we really took them seriously.
Fantastic. How are you feeling about your roster right now? This is one of the first big stages we've seen this new Mockit lineup on. How are you guys clicking right now?
I think we're doing well. I think we all just didn't have that of a good day today, but I mean, Freaky played well. I didn't play that good. I think Ferry, he's playing normal. So, but
insane.
Insane. The second day is always better.
Who's the comm leader for you guys right now? Who's doing the most talking when you guys are in game?
I usually do most of the talking, and I think the second one is probably Freaky. Yeah. But we have pretty good comms.
I was gonna say, you guys look so calm up there. I mean, I saw Barry try and fist bump you, and he doesn't even leave the stage. He went back to his controller.
Yeah, for me now, Pashy, I gotta know, What's it like having a chair that doesn't keep slowly falling on you?
It's actually amazing. I had nightmares about it. I was just dreaming and then just going down in my dreams.
It's still probably one of my favorite moments of DreamHack Summer is like we cut to you and your chin is at the table like, oh, it's little baby Pashy. It's so cute.
Yeah, at first I was the tallest one, and then you couldn't even see me anymore.
For those that don't know, Pashy is 6'7".
6'7", and at the DreamHack in Sweden, the chair broke and it kept on collapsing on him. So it was going down. How are you enjoying this DreamHack compared to the one in Sweden?
I think it's better actually.
Yeah.
The air wasn't that great in Sweden at the end, but now it's actually really good. Probably because of the, how do you call it? Like when it's cool air.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how they call it.
Air conditioning?
Air conditioning, yeah. That's really,
I'm like, is this what we're evading right now?
I think we didn't have that in Sweden, but now since we have that here, it's much better.
Yeah.
Pashy, I was going to ask you, this Mockit team, I mean, you always kind of like put together your own team, and you are characteristically very defensive. I saw so many times in this last game, you guys just wait for your opportunity to go on a counterattack, and the three of you together move out. So it's like a ducks flying in a V or something, right? And
wonder what that's
how do you feel about this Mockit roster that you've put together compared to the others? Do you think that this one's going to be as successful?
I can't really tell. Of course, you build a roster because you think it's going to be a better one than you had before. And that's what I think. We just had like 1.5, well, 2 weeks where we didn't play that well, but I mean, it's not
right.
It wasn't an important time, so I think it's a good weekend to shine again.
I mean, we haven't seen you guys too much in like community tournaments playing and stuff like that. How have you guys been scrimming? Like, how's that been going?
Yeah, we've been scrimming a lot. We community tournaments. Like I said, we had 2 bad weeks.
Right.
The first 2 tournaments we played pretty good, and then like 2 weeks we weren't really playing that well. And now I think we're really gonna come back strong.
Back on the upswing?
Yeah.
Nice.
Fantastic. Well, a good victory there over Myth. Any other shout-outs you got here?
I actually wanted to give a shout-out to Alishot. At the season 1 land, and I forgot, and since then I never did it. So shout out to him.
Everybody's paying their respects for people that forgot years ago.
Shout out to Volvofire and his crowd watching currently, and Hey Mom, of course. The most important shout out. Yeah.
I love how like we're just like cashing in the old shout outs. Yeah, we get into them here. But thanks for talking to us, Pashy, and good luck in the rest of the tournament.
Thanks for talking to you.
Fantastic. We've got so much good Rocket League in store for you guys. We heard Lethemir earlier saying that he's looking out for Hollywood Hammers. We will see them next up against a fan favorite. The Muffin Men are going to be our next matchup here on the stage. Cannot wait to see. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have more at DreamHack Atlanta.